Nova Scotia, 1922. A farmhouse outside of Antigonish, quiet, weather-beaten, and cold through winter, but inside, the air was heavy with smoke and fear. Locals would come to know it as the fire spook of Caledonia Mills, a haunting so strange, so persistent, that it drew journalists, scientists, and spiritualists from across North America. And like the embers that once glowed across the farmhouse walls, the story refuses to die. Caledonia Mills lies about 20 miles from the town of Antigonish. In the early 1920s, it was a scatter of small farms, horses, and family homes surrounded by forest. Among them was the MacDonald Farm, home to Alexander MacDonald, his wife Mary, and their adopted teenage daughter, Mary Ellen. It was an ordinary place, until one January night, when fires began to appear, spontaneously, nowhere near the fireplace or the wood stove. As the flames were put out, another fire erupted, in a separate part of the house, an empty room. More fires erupted around the house, puzzling the family, wet towels, paper, curtains, and wallpaper bursting into flames. These fires were not the first odd occurrence at this farm. In the MacDonald's barn, they would find ashes in the stored milk, livestock would be moved into different stalls, their manes and tails braided. Their animals were even found locked outside the barn on multiple occasions. The fires forced the family and their neighbors to begin guarding the house, on watch, until eventually they were persuaded to leave after a particular night where there were 30 separate fires. Local authorities investigated, which alerted the media about these mysteries. Within days, the story spread beyond the county. By January 16, 1922, the Halifax Herald sent reporters Harold B. Whiddon and police detective Peachy Carroll to the MacDonald farm for 2 nights. Both men independently reported being hit by an unseen force. Slapped by Spook, the headline featuring a picture of both men reads, Detective Carroll, above, says Antigonish ghost, which has been haunting the farm of Alexander MacDonald at Caledonia Mills, Nova Scotia, walloped him in the jaw. MacDonald says he was slapped too. Scientists are investigating. One investigator from the American Society for Psychical Research, Walter Franklin Prince, spent 3 weeks investigating, only 6 of which he stayed at the farm. Dr. Prince demanded privacy and, according to Whiddon, seemed more concerned about the cold than the haunting. Prince spent weeks interviewing the MacDonalds, measuring the rooms, studying scorch marks, and documenting every event. He found that nearly all of the fires started when Mary Ellen was nearby, their 16-year-old adopted daughter. She was quiet, shy, and by many accounts fearful of attention. But Prince noted something. When she was absent, the phenomena seemed to stop. After Dr. Prince's observations, he stated the fires were undoubtedly set by human hands. The burns are never found on the wallpaper higher than the reach of a person 5 feet tall, which is the height of the girl in the family. Mary Ellen defended herself, stating, I have never set fires. I would have been afraid to. His conclusion was that the poltergeist activity was caused by Mary Ellen in a dissociative state. As for Whiddon and Carroll's experience, he brushed them off, explaining that they were probably just cold and hallucinating. The fire spook story refused to die on paper. Newspapers from Halifax to New York debated what had happened in Caledonia Mills, whether it was fraud, hysteria, or proof of the supernatural. Spiritualist journals reprinted eyewitness accounts and reader letters claiming similar hauntings. One article in the New York Evening World called it the Canadian Fire Mystery. Others accused Dr. Prince of covering for the family, or sensationalizing the case for fame. In the same year, Prince published his report in the Journal of the American Society for Psychical Research. There is no evidence of deliberate fraud, yet the connection between the phenomena and the young woman is undeniable. It was both an investigation and a ghost story, carefully documented, but impossible to classify. Was it arson? Poltergeist? Psychological projection? A century later, readers still argue over which explanation fits best. In Dr. Prince's surviving notes, now preserved in archives, a single sentence stands out. Written hastily in the margin, he recorded, "The girl cried as she told me she did not understand it." That line, more than any headline or photograph, captures the tragedy of Caledonia Mills. A teenage girl at the heart of a storm she couldn't explain, interpreted through superstition, science, and fear. Prince would later write that Mary Ellen likely suffered from a psychic disturbance, but offered no further proof. After the investigation ended, the MacDonalds left the farm. Mary Ellen's name faded from public record, her story reduced to a headline: "The Fire Spook Girl." Over a century later, the Fire Spook of Antigonish remains one of Canada's most discussed hauntings, a mystery balanced between folklore and forensic curiosity. Even today, paranormal researchers revisit the case, comparing Prince's notes with modern poltergeist studies. Skeptics see it as an early example of mass suggestion. Believers point to the dozens of witnesses who claim to see the fires appear from thin air. Somewhere between those two versions lies the truth. When the nights grow long and the air smells faintly of wood smoke, Antigonish still whispers about the girl who set no fires, and yet lived surrounded by them. If you have stories of your own to add to the archive, send them our way to memoryarchivestories@gmail.com. Until next time, don't forget to blow out the candles.